Okay, so we're going to be talking about a horror movie, that being Smile. It came out back in September, so that was a while ago. So let's talk about this movie. So this movie really surprised me, if I gotta be honest. Like, I thought it was going to be one of those. I saw the trailer, and it looked interesting. That's why I wanted to see it, and it reminded me of, like, one of those crazy horror movies like Truth or Dare or Bye Bye Man. I thought that movie would just be like that, or the movie Countdown. But no, this movie is really good. Like, it has a lot of good twists and turns. And so I'm very close to finishing these 2022 movie reviews. So let's talk about this movie. So it's about this therapist who is dealing with this curse where basically she's surrounded by people who smile in like a very creepy way. And it all started when she had to give therapy to this one teenager who is freaking out because she's seeing people who smile in this creepy way as shown in this picture. And she's like, it almost looks like she's having like an episode, but then when the therapist calls the emergency room for the people to walk in, everything stops, and then the teenager is smiling creepily at our therapist, and then sorry if you're sensitive to these topics, but this girl ends up grabbing a knife and just slitting her throat, and she ends up killing herself. And that's how the movie opens, and it freaks out the therapist. And now, for the rest of the movie, she's now seeing people who smile in that creepy way, and she starts to have nightmares, and then it starts to affect the people in her personal life. Like, it affects her fiance, her boss, her colleagues, and the boss tells her to take a mental health break, like take like a week off. And then so she does, but for the rest of the movie, she starts experiencing creepy things. Like, it almost looks like people are whispering in her ear. And it's like causing her to like freak out at the middle of the night. And she even like looks at recordings of what happened. She was even in a police room because of what happened. And it like really affects her. And she's trying to investigate if this is a curse, like a ghost or a spirit, a demon. And she's trying to tell her family, but they just don't believe her. And so they think she's having an episode. And so she gets an actual therapist, like a therapist within a therapist. And she's trying to tell her, like, oh, you're having trauma symptoms from what happened to your client. And she does think that at first, but she realizes it, like, it's just like it's haunting her. Like, she doesn't know what to do, and she goes to this one cop. He tries his best to help her. Like, he's very confused of what she's trying to do. Like, she gets files of other murders or suicides, and she sees like this crazy video of this one guy who's smiling, and they're starting to add it all up. And it's also, there's this subplot where like it shows like what was her childhood like, because her mom died for some reason. I was a bit confused by that storyline. And so as this movie like gets more intense, like there's this one crazy scene where this is how the smile curse works. And so one day she gets one of her therapists comes to her house, and she's basically just telling her what's going on. But then she gets a phone call, and then guess who it is? The therapist. And she says, I'm very concerned for you. I need to come to your house. But then the therapist, sitting at the chair, then starts smiling creepily. And then she says, "You're next." And then our protagonist, her name's Rose, by the way. And she's actually played by Kevin Bacon's daughter, which is nice. And so it ends with her having this sort of vision. Because earlier she goes to a prison to figure out the curse, because she figured out that this one prisoner has the curse, and apparently the only way to cure this curse is if you kill somebody. And he freaks out when she tells him that she has the curse, and she's just like, "Don't give it to me." And so Rose does have this sort of vision where she has a dream where she ends it it's this crazy scene where she stabs this one of her clients, this one dude who also has crazy manic episodes himself. And so she uses a knife and stabs him to death. And it shows the one doctor peeling his face off it. This movie's very insane, by the way. I'm sorry I'm talking about sensitive topics, gross stuff, but I'm recapping this movie. And so I think the movie then picks up with her is just a nightmare. And then the doctor says, it's like, "Hey, you need to relax. I'm gonna have to report this," because she sees that the lady has a knife. And apparently she probably did plan to kill someone in that place, because she thinks that's the only way to kill the curse. And so instead she goes to her old childhood home. I didn't realize it was her childhood home at first until the flashback again. And so she basically isolates herself from everybody, and she turns the lamplight on, this lantern, and then we finally see this demon. And apparently, as if we thought it was a demon. And apparently this demon is really creepy looking. It looked like I never seen anything like it. This demon done crazy things for her. She kills the house cat and puts it into a birthday present for Rose's sister, little nephew. And like I said earlier with the therapist scene, and also she just sees a lot of visions. And so they finally come to this showdown, and I think she kills the demon by burning it to death with a lantern. But she ends up going back to the police and saying, "Can I stay here?" And he's just like, "Sure." But then it's revealed it's actually an illusion. She's still at the place. And then the movie ends with now the curse affecting Rose, and now she's smiling. And the way it's done is kind of creepy. The demon literally opens Rose's mouth and then goes right into her. And then the movie ends with the cop, who ends up seeing Rose smiling creepily, and then the movie ends with her burning herself to death, and then that's the movie. It just ends on a cliffhanger. And so, yeah, that's Smile. It was a really interesting movie. I was really rooting for Rose to win, but unfortunately no. Apparently, what's terrifying is there's no cure to this curse, and there's no one wins here. You either become affected by the curse and it ends up killing you, but the only way to cure it is if you kill somebody. But once you kill somebody, you go to prison for murder. And so, yeah, the curse didn't really make sense to me. So basically how it works is, if you, I don't know, it's very confusing. Like I said, it's where, I don't know. That's why I don't get about this movie. So, how would I rate this movie out of 10? I'd give it a 7. It's just that the ending, I felt I don't know, it didn't really work for me, because Just like after all she's been through, we're just gonna kill her off at the end. And but I guess in horror movies, no one really wins. Some people do, some people don't. And so, yeah. So the next movie we're gonna be talking about is Black Panther 2: Wakanda Forever. I can't wait to talk about that movie. So with that said, thanks for watching.